Now, if we look at another example, the optimization of organizational resources. The firm was Pfizer, as I said. Pfizer had, with the development of Viagra in particular, had come to have a lot of money. It was a very commercially successful venture. And so everybody saw this money coming in and said, okay, we have to do new projects. And so the people I was working at the time with the people in facilities management, and they said, well, we're going to build new buildings, we're going to improve the quality of our labs, we're going to redo all the infrastructures. And then the people in security said, we're going to have new security systems, to control better, we'll have chips in the cards and all that. And then the people in IT said, wow, this is a great opportunity. We're going to have new IT processes, and we're going to create new ways of communicating, and we're going to introduce knowledge management. And then the people in HR were licking their lips, and saying, wow, we're going to hire 500 new people in the next 2 years, and we're going to move 1,700 people in new buildings. This is great, And everybody started getting all excited about that. And at one point, the head of facilities management called me, and he said, Michel, I'm a bit worried. I said, what's happening? He said, well, all these people are starting projects all over the place, but nobody is really coordinating or trying to have a big picture of the thing. And my fear is that we're going to hire 1,700, we're going to hire 500 people, and we're not going to know where to put them because the buildings will not be built. Or we're going to, you may know or may not know that in pharmaceutical, there are some critical areas in the research where you have to let the process be. You can't touch the process while it's in certain phases. And it's very important. So you could not, for example, plan the move of a lab during a period of maybe a month where you're waiting for reactions to happen and things like that. You'd have to coordinate that. And nobody had really thought of that. So when we looked at the program, at all these projects in terms of a program, we said, okay, now let's stop. Let's take a breather, and let's try to see what we're trying to achieve with that. So again, we had a meeting, in this case, we did a workshop, because there was no strategy. It was just the money was coming in, so let's spend it, A good situation to be in. And so basically, what happened is that we did a workshop with the executive team, and we said, okay, there were about 20 people. We said, okay, let's all get together and try to identify what we're trying to achieve with this program. So higher performance, better, reduce time to market, have higher quality, be more able to respond to, be more innovative, able to respond to market demands, things like that. Okay, so these were the workshop we did. And then we said, okay, now we're going to take these elements and we're going to bring them to the people who are actually going to do the work. So in the next meeting, the next day, we had a meeting with the people from construction, the people from IT, the people from HR and all that, who were saying, okay, now these are the high-level objectives from management. Now how are we going to implement that? And then by having all these people together in the same room, what happened is that at one point HR said, we're going to hire 500 new people. We have planned to do that in the next 8 months and all that. And the guy from construction said, hold on a minute. In 8 months, we won't be finished. It will take us about 14 months to finish all the buildings. Okay, but what buildings are you going to finish? Oh, well, we're planning to finish this one in 6 months and this one in 9 months, and this one be finished in a year. Okay, so we would have to coordinate the hiring of people with the pace of delivery of the buildings, because it would be stupid to hire, let's say, 50 new people to work in a lab, and then a month later these people have to move, right? They were just starting to get used to the lab, to how the lab works and things like that. And then you move them, okay? Okay, makes sense. And then the people from IT were saying, oh, we're going to do this knowledge management systems and this new business process reengineering and all that. okay, but how are people going to react to that? And then we had some users in the group. And they said, well, I'm sorry, but what does it mean for us? And then they started explaining and said, okay, stop. This is Chinese for me. Sorry, I hope no Chinese people here. Or at least, sorry, Chinese for me is not understandable. Like, so that's what I mean, okay? I don't understand what you mean. What will it involve for us? And that's the example that these give about resistance to change, and Frank talked about it a little bit. Also, how are you going to deal with the resistance to change? And that was a key aspect of that, how we're going to optimize the change so that we would have the least possible resistance, we would have the best integration possible. So first, what we did, we said, okay, let's create a roadmap of this program. And basically what we did, we first identified the milestones. What are the milestones we have to deliver? Once we had the milestones, okay, we said, okay, what are the projects and how are they going to deliver into these milestones? And how do they interface? How does the hiring of people interface with, in fact, the delivery of the building? How does, for example, the moving interface with people who have to be moved? We did simple things like organize site visits before the buildings were completely finished so people could start moving in their head. It's called sense making. Making sense of the change. Making sense of the impact of the change on you, the process of the change and things like that. So instead of like feeling forced into a change, you feel like you're embracing the change. Okay. We also had the IT people go back to the users. We created a user group, and the people from IT went back to the user group and to actually understand their needs better and what they really needed. It was not just about developing the best IT programs, it was about, are we actually providing a service to the people? Is it going to help them in their work? Okay. So these are all the kind of things we did. And then, once we had done that, we managed to create, in fact, a balanced program where, in fact, there was no waste of time. We didn't have to redo things 2-3 times, and everybody was on the same wavelength and working together as a team, instead of working independently and not coordinating that.